Hey everyone, it's Emily from Life So Savory, and today we are going to be finishing the ruffle skirt that we started last week. I ran into a little snag and realized time was ticking away, so I just decided to call it and then get my things in order and then come back and finish it today. So that is what we're doing. So anyway, we are going to be finishing this whole project and I'll show you what I've got and then, yeah, we'll check it out. All right. So finishing the second part of the girls ruffled skirt, I put the link to the free pattern in the description of this video and you can check it out. I've also put the link to part one. So you can go back and watch the beginning of this if you're interested. But I will also just really quickly show you what we've already done. So the first thing we did is get the built-in shorts ready. And so you can see that these are little undershorts ready to be installed into the skirt. We sewed the bottom ruffle onto the skirt. So cute, right? I love it. Okay, so the shorts will go inside. Right now, this is a fully reversible skirt, does not have a front or back, but we're about to change that because my second layer of ruffle, which is this one, I had to piece together, which is what I ran into last week, and I was just a little bit short and not wanting to unruffle my fabric farther to stretch it out. So I went and found, like, this was the scraps making this skirt. So I found a little bit more, I gathered it up, I sewed it in. So this piece right here, I don't know if you can see those two blue seams. This piece is an addition, and this is going to be in the back now of the skirt because it has two extra seams in it. Okay. So we're going to put that in the back of our skirt, but in order to do that, we're going to prep this skirt for the second layer. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down here, and then I'm going to put this on so I can kind of see where we want this to lie. Lie. We want it to overlap the bottom a little bit, and so I'm going to mark that here, and then we're going to mark all the way around the skirt at this distance. Let's see. Oh, I guess I can probably pin it. Okay, so we're going to begin pinning the ruffle to the skirt. This will now be the back because this is that piece with the extra. And I'm going to start measuring down from the top. Let's see, where's my measuring tape? My soft one. Not sure where my normal one is. All right, but we're going to start measuring and then pinning this skirt all the way around at the same height from the top down. So it's just over 3 inches. So 3 inches and like a tenth. And I'm putting that, marking that, and then I'm going to go ahead and pin the top of the skirt at that spot. And so we'll be working our way around, rotating the ruffle and the skirt. Make sure you put your pins in going the correct direction so that when you put this into the sewing machine, you can sew it how you want. I think I actually want to lower it just a little bit more. It feels like it's just a little too high, and I'd rather have a little bit more overlap. Okay, so bear with me as I figure out. This is not, okay, so that's 3.5 inches. There's no formula for this. The tutorial doesn't include a exact height to layer your second skirt, or the second ruffle, but I'll show you in a minute when I get this all pinned on kind of what I was thinking about as I was determining the height. Okay, so you're looking, don't pin through both layers of the skirt. That won't go well. Trying to, yeah, think about how high you want this, how much overlap you want, and what you want the second skirt to look like. If you click the link in the description of this video, you can see a couple of versions of this from a few years ago. And I just think it's so cute. And I think Rose is still, I don't know how long she can wear this style because it's definitely, I mean, it is fun and so cute, but I don't know if it's like, I am in middle school and I'm wearing this, but she's not. Okay. So as a fourth grader, I think this is adorable. So we're going to go with it and wear it for another year if we can. And usually when I make skirts like this, they'll last a while. Okay. This isn't like a, maybe she can wear it this spring, probably definitely in the fall as well. Maybe even next spring, depending on the undershorts and growing. So the other ones of these that she did outgrow, the issue was more, they got really short because she got long. She got tall. Okay. So I'm just going to pin this around, and this will be the longest part of sort of the tedious part of the tutorial today, because then putting the undershorts in, it's going to be quick and easy. And that's the same as like any circle skirt or play skirt or anything like that. So hi, I see a few of you checking in, Barbara and Rosa, and so glad to have you here. Oh my goodness, it's turning out so cute. So again, I've decided that measuring down 3.5 inches from the top, putting the top of that top ruffle at the 3.5 inch mark, and then I'm just pinning it right to it. So the top of the ruffle on this skirt is exposed. And I forgot that last time, because the top is exposed, I didn't use my serger, and I'll show you why in a second, but we can see the serger seam now, and I'm not going back to ungather it and regather it. But no, in the written tutorial, I didn't use the serger, and it probably was a little bit better. And I'll show you, because just the top looks a little bit, I think, cleaner maybe. If it's just fabric. Okay, so when I did this before, it's all coming back to me. I used a single long stitch on my sewing machine and gathered the top of the ruffle and then pinned it and then sewed down that stitch. So this time we have the serger stitches we'll have to deal with. And actually, yeah, I'm not sure if they'll start to come out. I might have to do some picking over the weeks as we wash this if the serger gathering starts to come out. So usually the serger gathering is my favorite, and we did that last time. And when it's the bottom ruffle and you're sewing it into the seam, it's no big deal. In fact, it's perfect. But in this case, I'm realizing that it might not be the best, but we will see. Okay. So here you go. You can see the 2 layers of the skirt. It's so cute. But I do want to show you what I mean about being able to see that serger gathering on that top. So normally I've just used a thread, not the serger. So you just had a raw edge, a raw gathered edge of the fabric and not the serger. So it's a little bit different, but at least it's not like black. It's a pretty blue color. I think it could be worse. All right, I'm also going to mark what I am now making the back of the skirt, which is this side, so that when we're putting in the shorts and the waistband, I don't have to like keep checking under the ruffle to see where the seams are. Okay, so now we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and carefully stitch this top ruffle to the fabric. using the sewing machine, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm gonna get in here, nice and close to show you what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm just going to put it on a straight stitch, and then I'm going to put my fabric. So I have a color that I don't mind showing on the top, because you are going to see the stitches. We're going to sort of stitch right along that serger stitch. Okay, make sure you are only sewing one layer of skirt. So I just lifted that up right there to remove the second layer out of the way. Okay, so when I did this and I had the single layer of gathering, I just stitched right along where it was gathered and those gathering stitches. But this time we sort of have that serger edge. So my plan is to sew right along the bottom of the serger edge. And we're going to just lengthen this to a 3. And sew right along there. So I'm just going to try to keep it lined up as I sew. And I use lots of pins. So using lots of pins is definitely key. Keeping the layers of fabric separated. And then trying just to sew. We don't really want it folded over or creased. It will be gathered, but you don't really want those gathers like tucked under. So I'm trying to keep the top of the gathers sticking up. It's curled under, pull it out. And then just sewing on the bottom of sort of that serger area, serger seam. Pull it out. And then rotating and just trying to keep the top of the skirt, or the other layer of the skirt. There's a pin in there. The other layer of the skirt out of the way. Okay, so just stitching one layer at a time as we rotate around. This is the hardest part of the skirt. So if you're thinking, wow, I don't think I could get in there and sew that, you can, but you could also just make it a single ruffle if it's too much to add the first. But you definitely can do this, and the results are worth it. It is so, so cute when you add the layer. And then you have the layers of the ruffles overlapping. So that's what I was trying to figure out, how far down I wanted to pin the ruffle so that it would overlap, but it wouldn't be too close to the top and too far down from the top. So anyway, there you go. There's a lot to think about as you're sewing on the second ruffle. The first ruffle was easy. Go back, look at the first part of the tutorial. We literally just sewed the ruffle to the bottom of the raw bottom of the skirt. It was simple and easy and not an issue. This one's obviously a little bit trickier, but totally doable. And of course, this pin came out. So I got to grab my measuring tape to remeasure. We don't want a weird dip in the where this is. So 3.5. So let's put it right. And I did gather it, of course, to be the size of this part of the skirt. So it'll be a little bit smaller than the bottom because remember we cut our skirt in a trapezoid shape, which means it was smaller at the top and larger at the bottom. And so this ruffle is a little bit smaller than the ruffle that's on the bottom. And originally I had cut it a shorter piece of fabric, then realized I didn't cut enough fabric and it was too short. Okay, so as I'm looking here, I'm just wondering, like, if some of these ruffle gathers are going to come out, and as every time I wash this, I don't know. Don't gather that ruffle with your serger. Okay, that's my lesson. Oh, and look it. Don't sew the two layers together. What was I doing? Okay, not keeping them out of the way very well. Let me just pin this real quick. Goodness. All right, so you've now seen exactly what not to do. I said I was trying so hard to keep that out of there, but apparently not hard enough. Grab your tiny little scissors or seam ripper and rip it out. Okay, so I'm not ripping the gathering stitches, so it will still be gathered and still ready to pin back on. I'm just cutting off this side of the skirt that I sewed to the other side of the skirt, and that would be good, not good, because you couldn't get in it or out of it. So let's try this again. We're going to back stitch. We're going to sew a little bit. We are going to double check that nothing is in the way, and then I'm going to sew back over my stitches to where I started. And let's try this again. Can we get inside the skirt? Woo! Now we can. All right. So the inside, you can see, is open and available, and the gathers on the outside of the skirt are so cute. And then the back of the skirt is this side right here. So I'm going to put my clip back. Okay, so now we have this cutie cute skirt right here that we're adding the two layers of ruffles on. I haven't ever had a problem with the skirt sliding down. That's a good question. But I think because you're wearing such a tight undershirt, shorts under it, that, no, the last one stayed up really, really well. So, of course, you know, I haven't tried this one on yet, but I will be posting a picture of this. I'm planning to like update a little bit my post on this skirt, and I will give you the update and put some pictures in it so you can see rows in this skirt. Okay, so now we're going to match the back of the shorts, which is the higher part, and you can always check by grabbing the under area and then see which side sticks out farther. So that's the back. And we need to I need to find the sides, because we're going to match those with the side seams, because these shorts have a seam on the front and back, but the skirt has seams on the sides. Okay, so we're going to start by pinning these or clipping these to the side seam. Okay, and then we'll do the other side as well. And the top of the skirt should be similar in opening to the top of the shorts, because those are the same measurements we were working off of. However, in all the working with the skirt, it's very likely that it got maybe slightly stretched out. So good thing this is all stretchy fabric. You're just going to go ahead and stretch it to fit. Okay, so you're just going to ease those two layers together. And I'm going to go ahead and baste these before I sew on the waistband, because that's the next part. You could do all the layers in one stitch, but just based on my sewing luck today, and I already sewed two parts of the skirt together, I feel like I'm going to do this basting so that it will be easier to sew together. Okay, so easing those layers together, putting a couple clips in, and then I'm going to use the serger to sew this together, and then we'll go ahead and put the shorts inside as well. So cute, so cute. All right, so let's back this up, hopefully, so you can see the serger right there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and serge the top, and we just have 2 layers of fabric. So hopefully that's not too hard to keep track. Just do a quick check that my settings are all normal, as sometimes I used it to gather, or I did something else with this machine and I didn't put the settings back. So I forgot to mention, but the right side of the shorts goes against the wrong side of the skirt, so that when you lift it up, and I'll show you in a minute, when you're wearing it and you lift it up, you're seeing the right side of the shorts facing out. Okay, so I'm looking in here at the inside of the wrong side of the shorts. On the outside, I have the right side of the skirt fabric. Just think about like how you would be wearing this skirt and which side of the fabric of the shorts you'd want sticking out. This skirt also I like to use, unless you're making it like really for a tiny, tiny baby, but for any school age child, I'm using a 1.5 inch elastic, which is also going to help hold it up because it's nice and thick and sturdy. And so I think that extra elastic maybe helps too. I don't know. This skirt does seem heavy now as I'm sewing it, but we didn't have any problem with the last couple staying up. So of course now I'm interested to ask Rose, does it feel like it's gonna fall off? All right, so we have the side to side of the skirt, and I gotta mark the back again. The shorts are in there. Okay, if you lift up the skirt, you see the cute finished side of the shorts. Okay. Is there any questions here? Sorry, I was looking away. Seam reverse, yeah. Oh, okay. So I gotta go back and find the ruffle part. This is the back of the skirt now here. This side. No, that can't be right because there's a seam here. If that's the back, this is the front. Did I get a seam on both sides and now I have to go back to my shorts to measure? I'm not sure. All right, let's go back to the shorts and measure front and back, because honestly, that's the most important part, is the shorts. Okay, so this is the back. Tuck these babies in. Mark that. All right, so the back of the shorts are marked, and now it's time to put the waistband on. So I think it's easier if I just slide that over here a little bit. All right, so waistband. We need to sew it into a circle, as well as we're gonna thread the elastic through, okay? So here's my elastic cut into the right length. Here's my waistband. I did not necessarily check and see if it was the right length, but we can always stretch it. So it looks like it's good. So I'm going to go ahead and quick just sew this right sides together. And then I like putting this seam from the waistband onto the back of the skirt. Okay, so that's why it definitely matters front and back of the skirt, because you're going to be having to put that seam somewhere. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to pin or clip this waistband all the way around. And now we have lots of layers. So you can do this all in one seam. You can do the skirt, the shorts, and the waistband. But then that's 4 layers of fabric to keep track of. And since I already sewed through the skirt, only having to watch 2 layers, I was just trying not to push it because it felt like maybe it was a little bit of a disaster today. Okay, so that's why I just am doing it like this. You can easily stretch the waist or the shorts to fit. They both should be stretchy, and then they'll be gathered up by the elastic. So you do want to make sure towards the back of the skirt, and I'm going to do it around this part here, I'm going to leave an opening to turn, and I'm just going to check. I'm going to sew on a little scrap because I was feeling like this last seam that I sewed, it wasn't very stretchy. And a waistband that's not very stretchy seems like a bad idea. So let me just double check this. We might have to do like a little quick rethread, or I'm not sure, but yeah, so this isn't very stretchy. When I stretch it, it pops. So I'm just going to quick, I don't know if it's my needles. That one feels kind of tight. I'm just going to quick rethread the needles to make sure that that's what feels like is not stretching. So I don't know what's happening. But let's just try this and see if rethreading helps. Loosen it up a little bit, but it doesn't feel like a tension issue as much as it feels like there it goes. Sometimes it doesn't like that right needle. I love that it does have both those. Okay, so let's try this again. It's a little bit better, which is funny because I very rarely, actually, usually when I have tension issues, it's the thread. I have to change the thread, but we'll do that later. Okay, so we are going to now sew all these layers of fabric together, back over here, and leave an opening. So there's my back seam, and I have the seam that I just sewed for the skirt. And then I have the 2 layers of the waistband. So I really only have 3 layers of fabric, but it's actually 4 layers. 2 are just sewed together. So as I go, I'm going to make sure that those are lined up. And we're attaching those layers and hopefully not catching any other layers, you know. And then we're almost finished. This is the last big part here. We'll thread the elastic through, which will be simple. Sew up the opening. You can decide if you want to top stitch the elastic. Sometimes I like to put a couple rows of stitching down the elastic. I think it makes like a much more finished waistband. So you don't have to decide that now. You can wait and see how everything goes. And you can see I'm just sort of inching my way around, sewing the layers, and then I'm going to stop here so that I still have the opening to thread my elastic through, go around and double check that I sewed everything together. And there's our elastic for, or opening for threading the elastic. So let's grab this. Okay, so it is looking so super cute right there. Okay, so super cute. The back is marked by the seam in the waistband, and we're going to thread the elastic through. Because it's essentially going onto the top of a legging, the elastic will be pretty close to the same size as this waistband. Okay, it's fitted on the waistband, fitted in the shorts, and then the skirt flares out on top of that. Or at least that's the intended goal. Okay, so you can see how the elastic just fits really nicely through the waistband. Using stretch fabric obviously makes it easier to fit, but the waistband cutting dimensions, I think it's 3. I don't remember what I cut it as. But that is all in the tutorial, which is linked in the description of this video, as well as I linked the part 1 of this where I sewed up the shorts and we got the bottom ruffle going. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and quick sew this elastic into a circle. So we're going to switch to a zigzag. And I'm going to overlap about a 1/2 inch. And it works best if your needle stays threaded. All right. Overlap. Sew down, and because I overlapped a 1/2 inch, I'm going to go ahead and sew on the other side of that 1/2 inch, and that will just give us a nice flat attachment there for the elastic. Okay, so both sides of the elastic are sewn down. It's nice and bright so you can see it, and then we're going to pull that inside the casing. Make sure it's nice and flat. Look at how cute. It's not completely leveled out, but there you go. The back is again this part, and then we're going to take this on the serger and sew up these layers right here on the serger. All right. I'm not going to mark the back of this skirt because this one's marked pretty well with this line on the waistband, but you could mark it, and then you just spread your gathers around. Like I said, if you wanted to put some stitching on there, like one down the middle, or sometimes I like to do like a 3/8 from the top and 3/8 from the bottom for 2 lines of thread running around, but it looks super cute. And then let me back up and show you how cute it looks. Kind of wish it's for me. All right, so there we go. There's the double layer ruffled skirt with the cute built-in shorts for perfect play. So get some fun. You can make this, and again, as long or short. I keep this a little bit on the short side, definitely above the knee. Super cute. The shorts are built in, so you can still do cartwheels or whatever you want. I happen to have these two fabrics, both scraps in my stash, but get you started. The ruffles overlap one over the other, but still cute and easy. So there you go. I hope you're inspired to sew this. I will be posting pictures of Rose wearing this very soon. Make sure to be on the lookout for that and make one of these yourself. It's fun and easy, and you can catch both parts of this sewing tutorial on either Facebook or YouTube, and check it out there. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And next week, we're going to do something fun. I think it's not going to be clothing, or maybe it is. I don't remember what I've had planned, but I did have something in mind for next week. So come back next week and we'll have more sewing fun. All right. See you later.